Hey guys, this is Illusion PODFIC. We're going to be reading Popcorn by I Did Love You _once. The summary is, Jason had turned up at the tower, intent on leaving his replacement beaten and bloody and defeated in his own base. Call it a gift for Bruce to find later. Except, Jason's plans had gone to shit, because Bruce was already there. Or, Jason arrives at the tower to find Batman and Robin in the middle of a shouting match. There's not much he can do but watch. A Titan towers at you. I'm supposed to be a hero. I can look after myself. You can't be a hero if you're dead. I can't be a hero if I'm locked up in the manor like some fucking damsel in distress. Jason had plans. Practical, elaborate, well thought out plans. He'd received an alert when Robin arrived at the tower, and he'd headed there with the same breath. This was his chance, and who knew if he'd get another. Bruce had pretty much put the kid on house arrest since Jason had accidentally let it slip that he had plans for the new Robin. It was a stupid taunt. Something about whether Batman would avenge this one. It wasn't worth the weeks he had to wait to get the replacement alone. He should have just kept his mouth shut. And well, it seemed like he wasn't the only one angry with the house arrest. I came to the tower to get away from you. How did you even know I was here? Have you got some kind of tracker on me? The kid yelled. Very high-pitched, enough to make Jason wince. Of course not, Tim, Bruce snapped. I got an alert when you used the Zeta. You got an alert when... The kid laughed breathlessly, and I suppose that makes it better. Jason had turned up at the tower, fingers twitching, blood thrumming, itching to see how perfect the new model really was. How much better, how much more suited he was for Robin, for Bruce. He'd read all about Timothy Drake. Every file he could get his hands on. He knew the boy was some kind of prodigy, an upgrade. Well, he can't really downgrade. A voice in the back of his mind sniped, but it lacked the usual anger. His anger had all but dissipated when he'd heard shouting. Jason had turned up at the tower, intent on leaving his replacement beaten and bloody and defeated in his own base. Call it a gift for Bruce to find later. Except, Jason's plans had gone to shit, because Bruce was already there. If the shouting match was any indication, then it seemed like the replacement was just as annoyed about that as Jason was. I'm going crazy alone in the manor. You said that my parents were... The situation with your parents was different. I'm protecting you. You're right, it was different. At least I could actually see my friends. Jason clicked his tongue against the roof of his mouth and suppressed a sigh. He wasn't even angry anymore, and he needed to leave before anyone realized he was there, and... He was rooted to the spot. Bruce was shouting at the kid, because Robin was a kid, and Jason wasn't sure how he'd never realized that before now. And well, Tim was holding his own, and Jason didn't know what else to do but hide in the hallway and listen. Do you think I'm not good enough? Is that it? Tim screeched, and Jason caught a glimpse of him, cheeks flushed, eyebrows pinched, teeth bared in an adorable imitation of a snarl through the gap in the door. I'm good enough to protect Gotham, but hanging out with my super-powered friend is too dangerous? I'm not sacrificing your safety to placate you. I'd rather you hate me now and survive than find out the Red Hood put a bullet through your skull because I let you. I'm not scared of Jason. Tim cut him off, crossing his arms stubbornly. Everyone knows that the Hood doesn't hurt kids. The certainty in his voice made Jason's stomach flip. Exactly. You're a kid. And... I'm not a kid. Jason couldn't see Bruce's face, but he didn't need to. He could imagine the downturned lips and the patronizing gaze well enough. You just said. You know what I mean. You're a kid, Tim. I'm not a kid and I care about you. You can't tell me what to do. And all I want to do is keep you safe. Keeping me safe means treating me like a prisoner? No, Tim. Have you heard of privacy or boundaries? There was a long sigh. You have a right to your privacy. I'm not asking to know everything that you do. I'm just... You can't tell me to do anything. I'm not... Actually, I can. I care about you. I'll do what I must to keep you safe. And you'll listen because... No, you can't. You're not... Yes, I can and I will. Your safety is more... You're not my father. Jason winced, and there was a low whistling inhale to the left of him. He nodded slightly in agreement because... A low whistling inhale to the left? Jason's head snapped to the side. To his credit, Dick didn't even flinch. In fact, he didn't even look at Jason, nor acknowledge the way that the younger boy's hand flew to his gun instinctively. He just stood, fingertips clutching the doorframe, ear pressed against the wall, body weight teetering on his tiptoes so that he could peer through the gap without being seen. He watched the argument with intense concentration, lips parted, eyes darting back and forth between the speakers, well and truly engrossed. Jason imagined that seconds ago he looked about the same. His heart rate surged. Fuck. How long had Dick been here? How hadn't he noticed? Because it's Nightwing, obviously. He cut himself off. It didn't matter. He needed to leave. Now. There was something about seeing Dick wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and a gray leather jacket, and no mask, that made Jason's chest feel tight. He hadn't seen the older boy out of uniform since before he died, and even in uniform, their interactions had been nothing but hostile. How long? Dick asked, pressing impossibly closer to the wall. Jason tensed, warring with the idea of shooting Dick in the foot and making a run for it. Why wasn't Nightwing arresting him, or whatever it was he and Batman have been trying to do since Jason revealed himself? He was acting as if Jason wasn't a threat, as if he wasn't dressed in full gear, weapons visible and menacing. 15 minutes, he managed stiffly. The helmet didn't do much to keep his voice down, but he doubted the other two would hear him over the shouting. And they haven't seen you? No. You're coming home with me. A particular loud growl interrupted them. You followed me here, Bruce. You can't control me. What are you going to do? You going to drag me back by my collar like I'm some kind of pet? Jason grimaced, and Dick snickered. You think he ever gets bored of having the same argument on repeat? The older boy joked. Jason let out a laugh he didn't know he was holding. His hand fell away from the gun, and he settled back into his position, pressed against the other side of the door. Not even a little. Jason hesitated. I think he likes the sound of his own voice. Dick snorted, but it morphed quickly into a wince when the kid shouted, Do you seriously think so little of me? I can protect my— I believe you, Tim, Bruce snapped, but forgive me for worry. I feel like I've exchanged one empty house for another. Jason felt Dick shift uncomfortably at that, and his eyebrows drew together at various implications of those words. What, does Alfred not count now? I'm sure he'll be thrilled to know. Oh, fuck you! Tim seethed, and Jason's eyes widened. You know what I mean. You're being fucking ridiculous. I'm being ridiculous? Anyone would think that you want to get yourself killed. Jason's brain faltered. Was Bruce not going to— The kid He shot a tentative glance at Dick and swallowed roughly. He used to dock my allowance whenever I swore. Jason's voice was low and gruff, distorted by the helmet into something smooth. Dick didn't respond, and Jason's heart raced. That was it. Jason was going to have to figure out how to escape Batman and Nightwing. He risked a look to the left, and his expression wrinkled in confusion. Dick was staring at him, eyes wide, jaw slack. There was a moment of stillness, and then, You got an allowance? Jason gave a near imperceptible, mildly bewildered nod. It was enough for Dick. His face morphed into something indignant. I don't know what I expected. Dick shook his head in disbelief. Get a summer job, Dick, he continued, voice shifting to imitate Bruce. See if the neighbors need help with anything, Dick. Go mow the 5 million acres of lawn, Dick. Jason couldn't help the snort that fell from his lips. He rolled his eyes and turned back to the argument. Stop whining. Hard work builds character. Dick breathed an incredulous laugh. It builds character? He repeated flatly, eyes raised. Clearly not much. Jason hummed in agreement. Dick scoffed and stuck out his tongue, and Jason's heart raced because he had heard nothing but Nightwing's detached tone for so long. He hadn't seen that kind of softness on his brother's face since granted, between all the fighting and the explosions and the threats to the new Robin's life, they hadn't really had the chance for civil conversation. The older boy pressed back against the wall, and Jason followed suit. An hour, the kid pleaded. I'm asking for an hour out of the house. You can leave the house whenever you please. Anyone will go with you. Alone, Tim bellowed. I want an hour to do photography, or in Crime Alley. Bruce's voice went cold. I don't think so. Jesus fucking Christ! I just want you to believe in me. Have some fucking faith in me and my training. Is that too much to ask? Jason shook his head in disbelief. Seriously, he breathed. How the fuck is he getting away with that? In all fairness, you were younger than Tim. It doesn't matter. The kid's the size of a 7-year-old. The old man's gone soft. Dick squinted at him, half amused, half cynical. Have you seen any 7-year-olds recently? Yes. Jason deadpanned, turning towards him and gesturing to his armor-clad body. I teach arts and crafts at the elementary school every Wednesday. Is that where you got the helmet? Dick quipped, expressing the picture of innocence. Jason couldn't suppress a smile. He settled for sticking up the middle finger in response. Dick tutted in mock disapproval. Careful, I'll dock your allowance. Jason's lips pulled into a full-face aching grin, and he chuckled. He couldn't remember when he'd last felt so light, and his heart was pattering against his ribcage, and he felt a little dizzy with all the suddenness of it. You and Dick go out every night to do what? Jason flinched at Tim's voice, painfully hoarse from shouting. Fine, Jason, and then what? What's your plan for after that? Because it doesn't sound like you have one, and I can't stay locked inside forever. Of course we have a plan. We don't, Dick offered quietly. Jason shot him a questioning glance, but the older boy just shrugged. Jason nodded. You won't be locked inside forever. You're being dramatic. It's been a few weeks. Once everything has cooled down. Cooled down? You haven't even told me what's going on. Bruce took a deep breath. I have, Tim. I have. The Red Hood wants to hurt you. And if I let him kill you, I don't believe you. Tim cut him off firmly. Jason isn't going to kill me. Jason's heart raced and his stomach churned and... I was actually, he stated, voice deceptively nonchalant. Going to kill him, that is. He swallowed the lump in his throat. It's why I'm here. Dick hummed in acknowledgement, and there was a moment of pause, and then... You want to do something while you wait? Jason's brain stuttered, mouth parting in shock. He took a breath to steady himself before continuing, voice flat. I just said that I was going to kill him. Yeah, well, this is clearly going to take a while, and I have nothing else to do, so I thought... Jason's eyes narrowed. How long is a while? I don't know, he shrugged. Definitely long enough to see a movie or two. Jason swallowed, heart pounding, hands trembling. What was... Dick wanted to go and see... What, with him? The Red Hood. Thoughts swirled in his mind so fast it was dizzying. Dick was stupid. This was stupid. He couldn't just go to the movies with his big brother. He wasn't a 10-year-old easily placated by snacks and soda, and... He shrugged out of his jacket and unclipped his armor. It took a few seconds, but he removed his gun holsters and added them to the neat little pile before settling his weapons down gently on top. Mouth dry and hands clammy, he reached up and pulled off his helmet. He set it down. The process was methodical and stiff, and Dick wasn't saying anything, and he pretended not to hear the older boy's shaky inhale when he peeled away the domino. He stood up, feeling bare without his weapons. Vulnerable. His hands came to rub awkwardly on his jeans. You're just gonna stand there? His voice came out breathless, like he'd been running. Dick swallowed, as if to reorient himself. He wet his lips, blinking fast, and schooled his face into something a touch too stunned to be casual. He gave a jerky nod, and then his expression broke into a half-disbelieving, half-overjoyed grin. There are so many movies I'm dying to see. The older boy removed his jacket, tossing it haphazardly on top of his pile, and Jason tilted his head in question. It's really warm out there, he shrugged. Jason fixed a look at him. If I leave my jacket and... Seriously, Jay, it's like 1,000 degrees outside. Jason sighed, but it was too exhilarated to sound long-suffering. If we get caught in the rain, we won't, Dick insisted, and Jason fell into step beside him as they walked down the hallway. Away from the replacement, away from the painfully high-pitched argument, away from the pile of weapons and jackets and the glinting red helmet. So, Jason said as they entered the elevator, you ever grow out of the whole talking through the entire movie thing? Not even a little bit. No one will go to the movies with me. Jason groaned. Great. Alright guys, and that is the end of the one-shot Popcorn by I Did Love You _once. There's a note at the end that says, turns out a romantic comedy and a bucket of popcorn is the perfect cure for pit rage. No one had to die after all. Who knew? I hope you guys liked this one, and just as an FYI for all of the fics I read and everything, I do request permission. With this one, I requested permission to see if I could read it, but I'm not sure if the account is active anymore. So if the author and everything contacts me later, or if any other authors contact me and don't want their fic up anymore, I'll happily take it down immediately. Just let me know. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this fic once again, and I'll see you in the next one.